So I think Meghan Markle is losing her marbles. Does that rhyme? I think it does. But when we're focusing on everything going on with the drama and all of the issues going on over at Netflix and its various studio executives there, producers, CEO Greg Peters, and among the entire board of directors, really getting into this constant internal issue over this new Netflix series called With Love, Meghan, we know that Meghan Markle is only stirring up a lot more problems behind the scenes and in the public eye. Let's get into this, shall we? This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. So, I've said this once and I'll say it again. But we know that Meghan Markle is by far one of the fake individuals in the public eye. One of the most fake individuals out there as far as how the public sees her, right? That's why she is very much unlikable. She comes across as very inauthentic. She really tries too hard in all of the productions that she gets involved in. And this is the latest example, With Love, Meghan by Netflix, which, by the way, is set to actually be released on January 15th. Now, what's interesting about this, as we discussed this about 2 to 3 days ago, there's been a lot of internal issues happening between Meghan Markle and the many executives over at Netflix, and how there are a lot of scapegoating issues going on right now. We have Meghan Markle blaming the marketing team for fumbling, quote-unquote, the trailer for With Love, Meghan, but this is where things begin to really go out of control, as she really did something that I believe is the worst thing in her entire career, the worst thing that she could actually possibly do during her time at Netflix, which could lead to her actually getting booted eventually. We'll have to wait and see. But what's interesting here is that with Netflix already going through both public backlash and internal issues after the Meghan Markle drama went out of control for the CEO and its studio executives, one monumental development that is now happening involves Meghan Markle's behavior after getting the worst backlash during her time in the public eye. It turns out that after the intense backlash for her new Netflix series, With Love, Meghan, there have been multiple internal battles happening between her and the Netflix studio heads for days now. One of her demands just in the past week was to fire the entire marketing team that put together the trailer for her new show and future trailers and/or marketing strategies that were going to be used. It turns out, get this, that the Netflix board of directors, and shame on them, recently sided with Meghan Markle after a 3-day squabble after claiming that the marketing team used her worst takes in the trailer, her acting takes. Netflix CEO Greg Peters and the various executives and producers were against the firing of the marketing team, which did indeed eventually happen, as pushed by Meghan Markle. However, the board sided with Meghan since she placed an ultimatum. The specifics of this ultimatum, it turns out, there are already plans for a With Love, Meghan Season 2, as well as another mystery Meghan Markle project for Netflix intended to release in 2027. Now, Markle made the ultimatum that if the marketing team that handled the trailer for With Love, Meghan was not fired, then she would have, of course, be backing out of both projects and leaving Netflix altogether to never work with them again. This reportedly scared the board of directors since they believe that there is a successful market at Netflix for Meghan Markle. Its CEO Greg Peters and the many producers and executives are now having serious doubts and are now scrambling to obtain a whole new marketing team by this February. They have to get it done fast, and they have to get it done really, fast to handle a new marketing strategy for With Love, Meghan, along with an entire new trailer that is going to be used as a reset button for the show. Now, Markle is still desperately trying to convince the board to turn off comments on the official With Love, Meghan trailer on the official Netflix channels on social media. Now, guys, let me just stop here for 1 second. We're talking about the official Netflix channel on social media, such as the one here, or whether it's on X or Instagram, whatever it may be, any account by Netflix. She wants comments off. That's basically one of her other demands that's just getting refused right now outright by the board of directors. So at least they have a shred of decency left. But like I said earlier, shame on the board of directors over at Netflix for not listening to Greg Peters, its CEO, the executives, everybody else there, and really just focusing on what they believe is going to be all profit. Now, I think it's going to be a big mistake on their end, and I think it's a big mistake to even greenlight a Season 2 and a mystery project behind the scenes for 2027 featuring Meghan Markle to begin with. You know, I don't really know what's in their mind right now, you know, between the whole Dave Chappelle situation that took place over at Netflix. That was the biggest issue. They had a technical issue with the Mike Tyson fight with all the buffering problems. That was another problem. And now you have this and all of the internal problems going on. Now, of course, so far the board is refusing to do the turning off comments demands by Meghan Markle. However, Meghan also convinced the board that the entire new marketing team will indeed be approved by her. And this instant acceptance coming from the board is said to be creating a serious divide at Netflix HQ between the many executives, its CEO, and the board of directors, and it's best described as chaos and production hell for With Love Meghan as they prepare to drop the series on the 15th. Now, the reason why a lot of people have issues with Meghan Markle, and I've said this many, many times, she really comes across as very fake, disingenuous, very self-absorbed, very much too involved with everything that happened with Harry and everything else. But we already know that Meghan Markle, alright, is not going to take this backlash well, alright? We already know that she's planning to come out publicly about this in the coming days, and we'll most certainly be covering that. But everything else happening here with the Netflix issues going on, both in the public eye and internally, is really nothing more than a downward spiral for them. Now, this is where it gets interesting, alright? So, moving on further, this drama got so intense that Netflix CEO Greg Peters is actually trying to convince the board to reverse their action and to not be intimidated by Markle's demands for her new Netflix show. The board, however, is tuning out its CEO and focusing on what they believe is going to be profitable. So it even got to a point where the board is tuning out Greg Peters. Now, this is only making matters worse since Greg believes this will result in subscription losses, right? Unsubscribers over time as the backlash spreads further on social media. And it's not going to stop anytime soon, I believe, because look, we're still like a little over well over a week before this thing drops at this point. I think at the end of the day, she's going to have a lot of problems going into this thing with the first episode and throughout all of the other episodes. And after that, alright, the post-release of the show, I think it's going to be interesting to see what the overall PR is going to look like, what the press tour is going to look like for With Love Meghan, and how she's going to handle this intense backlash that they really can't shake right now. They can't get it off because it is spreading like wildfire. It is going viral, and it's not slowing down anytime soon. And we're going to see, I think, a lot of scapegoating coming from Meghan Markle publicly. I think that we're going to see a lot of playing the victim, if you will. And we know that she's done this before in the past. She's done this multiple times, and she will do it again. There's no denying that. But I think that we need new board members over at Netflix, and it's going to be very hard to make that happen, but eventually it just has to happen. Alright, new shareholders, really need to speak up. We have to have a lot of change going on over at Netflix, and that's just, really what it boils down to. But overall, I would like to hear what you all have to say about this below in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.